The Frames Per Second podcast.
All right, Blood of Zeus. Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Frames Per Second podcast. In this episode, we are talking about Blood of Zeus, which I guess, let me not try to, it's not anime. No, it's animation.
Nah, animation. I was like, you gotta get it right. Even though it some of the animation was outsourced to North Korean studios for the first season. That's what I'm reading. But yeah, and it was originally supposed to be titled Gods and Heroes, but I guess they changed it to Blood of Zeus, which I like the title better than Gods.
I do too. Yeah. I saw, I think you said you were gonna do this one, and it was in my Netflix queue, so I had it lined up to watch, and I kind of moved it up because a while ago we said we season 2 came out, and
we were supposed to do season 1.
Yeah. But this one, bro, like this really caught me off guard. I'll get to this in a second. I'm a fan of Greek mythology. I didn't know you were either until you said it, because it's rare to find people that are these days. Because I don't know if it's still popping the way it was when I was growing up, reading all that stuff. So I was surprised to see you say that. I didn't know you were a fan of Greek mythology.
So like growing up, I was big into and I'm biased, obviously, when I say I feel like I grew up in like the golden age of cartoons / animation, like from the 90s to the early 2000s, because I grew up watching like the cartoon version of like the Prince of Egypt, which got me into like a lot of Egyptian mythology and or just like Egyptian culture. And then in class and like growing up watching the cartoon Hercules and stuff like that, I got into Greek mythology, and then I just started reading up on stuff just on my own. So I've always been aware of like who certain people are. And then when you get older, you kind of hear like the true Hollywood stories of the Greek mythology. Like it's not the kiddie version that you kind of grew up on where like everybody's nice and all. It's a lot of incest. It's a lot of corruption. It's a lot of backstabbing. It's like, it's a whole kind of thing. And then, so when you kind of read up on that more, it kind of gives you more an adult understanding and appreciation. Like basically the gods are like, it reminds you of kind of like how The Boys is. Like you think they're one thing, but they're in reality they're just assholes with powers, basically. So I kind of just fell in love, and I've always kind of kept my eye on it. So I stumbled into this series because like I like watching. I think Netflix and DC really underrated, does like really great animation when it comes to like their stories and just random different shows. DC obviously has a whole catalog of characters, but with Netflix, like the random animation shows they have, like they're pretty good. I could recommend you a couple more if you like this, but I just stumbled upon it. I saw Blood of Zeus. I was like, let me give this episode a shot. They had me locked in the first episode because I was wondering to see like, is this gonna be like a kid? Is this a kid Netflix show, or is this just like adult animation? And it was an adult, and like they had me on the first episode. I watched like the first 2 episodes. I was like, all right, let me slow down because I could watch this. I can knock all this out at one night. But I put a couple of my homeboys onto it, and they fuck with it too. But like, yeah, it is. I like how it's done because it uses a character you don't know about, but it uses the characters that you have all this history with. So it kind of just weaves you into like that story and how they work in a well done way. Like you don't really have to know Greek mythology to enjoy this show. Like you could just go into it and you'll learn about all these people as you go along.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm trying to remember how I described it because I was in here when I was watching because I loved it. I definitely loved the first season. Man, I was in here talking out loud to the TV. And my wife was going like, damn, you must be really into that damn show because you ain't shut up since. And I was like, it's good. Like it hits all the notes for me growing up reading that stuff. And I read like the books. So, and I was really thinking about that as I was reflecting back on like reading that stuff as a kid, the stuff that's in it, because some of that or most of that stuff, or kind of the ideas are in here. Like Zeus was a hoe, and Zeus just went around sleeping with everybody. Just some could say raping people because he was and he had all of these children. This whole shit, everything that went down was because this man went out and cheat, and Haiti and Hera was jealous. That's it. And she fucked up everything, bro.
and we'll get into it because the Hera in season 1 versus season 2 makes a hilarious switch up, which blew my mind because off of what you said, she did all that shit, and then on the season 2, she like, oh yeah, never, like, I'm good now. It's like, nigga, you brought the whole literally hell to us because you was upset with dude, and then you got Hades hating in the back. Like it I loved how they did. I loved how they, like, season 1 is amazing. Season 2 follows up with it. It was supposed to, I think the creators originally said there was supposed to be 5 seasons. They had a storyboard for 5 seasons, but Netflix is only going to give them 3. So the next season is the final season. So maybe it gets picked up somewhere else. You never know, but they said Netflix is only giving them until 3, so they got to wrap it up. But I wish they were able to. That's why I'm like, sometimes, like, with all the bullshit Netflix got, I'm like, y'all could give them 5. Like,
right.
Granted, I don't know. You know, animation is always more taxing because you got to draw the shit. You got to have the voice actors. It usually takes like multiple years to kind of get everything right. But if they already had everything like lined up, like that's the reason why I want to see it done, because it's like most shows, they bullshitting every season. Like, we like, all right, we didn't even know we was gonna get another season, so let's just keep kicking the can on shit. This one's like, we know the story, like, we just wanted to tell it. So it's disappointing. Yeah. I'm glad they got 3 seasons worth, because it could have been cut off after the first, like some of these other animated shows. But damn, I wish I could see it fully fledged out.
Yeah, it'd be nice if somebody pick it up. Maybe the 3rd season, catches on and a lot more people are watching it. But yeah, this whole first season was insane. I remember texting you, like, Seraphim was a straight up asshole, bro.
A villain with no remorse is a villain that I love. It's like, I don't know if you remember not season 1, but like Mission Impossible 3 with Philip Seymour Hoffman. Mm-hmm. If you remember that, like, the movie starts out, it's probably got one of the best movie openings in a long time, where it starts off where he shows you he's with the shits and he ain't playing early. And that's what Seraphim was. And then you see his character arc, which makes it even better. But like, when he comes up on the scene and you see how he is, bro, when you see that nigga in that staff, it's a wrap.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Like, he was ruthless. I think it was in episode 6 is when he was just at his most brutal. I think this was the one where, he killed his own mom
without it, like, and the way he did it, without even, for one, he didn't know, and then 2, the way he did it to mess up with, what's the main character's name? What's his name? Heron. Yeah. To get back at Heron, it was so cold, and like, he watched his mom die in front of him, and you felt Heron's pain, because like you could see all the shit that he was going through, and they was bums. They was fighting for scraps. And then you see, like, I'm jumping all over the place. I know you probably
it's fine. We're just talking about it, so it's fine to jump all over the place.
To me, it's just like, to me, it was just like, you see how I always used to say this goofy shit because obviously it's fake now, but I was like, your childhood is overrated. Most of the shit that you go through is in like your elder, like you, like when you a teenager to adulthood, most like late teens, like 18 and stuff. Like, that's the stuff that kind of molds you and makes you who you are. But then obviously I was quickly proven wrong on that. Like, everything that you kind of go through and deal with in life starts with your childhood, even when you're an old ass adult. Like, it's stuff that stems from like how you were raised and all that. And I bring that up to say, like, you look at Heron and Spheriton's upbringing based off of the shit that Zeus did.
Mm-hmm.
It like Zeus, like you mentioned, like Zeus literally, like, even if it wasn't for him, even if he just cheated, right? it's the way he cheated. It was the way he created this whole second family that caused his own demise. And like when you look at Zeus, Zeus seemed like he the coolest dude in the world. Like he seemed like he's somebody you go watch the game with, you go out for a beer or something like that. But when you see how he moves, it's like, bro, you really fucked up. Like not only does he pretend to be an old man all his life, Hera's like a pseudo daddy, but how he created Seraphim to be an orphan. Like Seraphim was supposed to be the king, like an heir to the throne. He wasn't supposed to live that life that he lived. And Zeus fucked all that up because he wanted to save his son and not the other guy. Like, it was, to me, that was like, I love, like, you don't really get that much great storytelling in animation, like in this much detail with this much like character building. Because like when you watch it the first season, you're like, all right, Seraphim is a piece of shit. Like you ain't even trying to deal with his ass. Then you see his story, it's like, all right, I kind of feel where he coming from. Now, granted, he fucked up a lot, but you kind of feel where he coming from. Like it's like I have to do whatever I have to do to survive, and he did that.
And you know, I think he wanted revenge for something that happened to him, and he was told not to do it, but he did it any fucking way. And they pursue, people were chasing him, and he had to eat the body of something and turned into this damn monster.
Yeah, the giant. He had the flesh of the giant or something like that, and then
which turned out to be Hades, right?
Yeah, Hades was the one who made him go through all that, which we find out in season 2. But yeah, season 1, I even like. I love how season 1 ended with him dying, with Seraphim dying, or quote unquote dying, and he goes into Hades, and Hades like, I can bring you back, bro. I can bring you back to how you do all the shit you want to do. And he was like, all right, bet. What you need to do? He was like, nigga, bend the knee. and the funny thing is, Seraphim all season was trying to avoid bending the knee to anybody. And then Seraphim just screaming out, no. And like that shit was just so funny because it's like you would like on the path of revenge, you end up becoming the thing you didn't want to become, or become the thing that you actually trying to get revenge on, and you end up making decisions that you didn't want to make initially. Like I just love how that played out.
Yeah, because he had to do it to Hera too. Hera asked him to bend the knee as well. But yeah, Hera was like hell in this whole first one because the wife, his mom would have been alive if it wasn't for her.
Yeah,
doing that little blanket, and
she was a scorned woman to the T. Like once she found out, not because she was like, Zeus, where you going? He was like, I'm just going to get to the store, get some Pop-Tarts. But nah, nigga, you going over to see your side chick, and you going to see your little side son, and you over here playing house with them in the village. She blow the she did something with the wind where it put the scent on that town as far as with the demons and all that stuff.
For Cerberus to find them. Yep.
Yeah, like so she did all that. Like she was she was spying on him and all that stuff with the ravens, I guess, and all that, like with the birds. Like she was just upset that and you understand why, because like you look at the relationship her and Zeus had coming up. Like that's the one thing I love about this story or this series is that it gives you great backstory, and it's pieced together well, where it's just not like, oh, we just doing a flat. It's not like Acolyte where we do a random flashback episode from some shit that we already kind of see from a different perspective. It's like, no, we get scenes that show you what happened, what was the buildup, and then they kind of piece together the emotion that you see from this character. Like it's really well done. Because you get to see what it was like when Zeus and Hera was happy, when Zeus was like, when he needed all them to take down his daddy. Who's his daddy name? I think I forgot. Is it Titan or something like that? Or that's what they're called. But we know if the Greek mythology, Zeus kills his father to save his brothers and sisters so they can all live and stuff like that. It shows you how that went down, and then how they became in love, and how they built this whole kingdom with themselves. and you could see like that's the man that she fell in love with. And then like in a marriage, it's always the honeymoon phase, right? And then all of a sudden, as you get older and stuff like that, Zeus started moving around, started doing his own thing. He thought since he the king of the whole fucking Olympus, like he could do whatever and get away with it. But she was like, hell nah. Like I got stakes in this too. I'm the queen. And she, yeah, the way she did it, and I mentioned the heel turn she did because it's like after she did all that shit, she saw all the destruction that she caused and what she ended up creating, and then she was like, "All right, now I'm ready to help y'all." Like, nigga, you put us in this hole, or you helped put us in this hole. Zeus did most of the work, but you helped. Like,
Yeah, and they basically kind of told her that this is all your fault. If you wouldn't have been as jealous as you were, so there's a lot of revenge. There's a lot of family issues between all these people. And it's kind of it's really great, and I felt like it really kind of stuck to like the beats and notes of Greek mythology with the storytelling and everything that was going on here, and how they revealed that Seraphim and Hera were actually the two kids in the beginning, and the fact that the uncle dropped this motherfucker from a cliff,
bruh,
no remorse,
because he wanted to be king too. It was like, bruh, it was like, and then you see that, and I'm surprised. I didn't even know. Well, obviously it's a cartoon, but it's like the fact that he survived and then he grew up in a fighting all his life. It was just like it was insane how this story played out and like how it's a full circle moment. And then I even liked how with season 2 they told Hades' backstory, and like you see how he was, I guess, duped out of what possibly could have been. He could have been running Mount Olympus, and how Hera and Zeus did that shit. So like all this righteous, self-righteous shit she talk about, with her within her, marriage between her and Zeus, she over here did that whole fuck shit that really was a conspiracy. Well, not really, because it was a conspiracy. It became to be found that y'all cheated the whole system. Like they did the what is that shit, the David Stern with the Knicks with the with the cold envelopes, the iced out envelopes, so you know which one it is. Yeah, I loved how they did Hades' story in the second season.
Yeah,
and you feel bad for him too.
You do, and it's a different version of Hades that's often told. Often Hades is viewed as a guy that's evil. He's the ruler of hell, and he hates everybody. And he got all these mean spirits, but nah, he's actually just a man that's in love and was willing to and fell in love and was willing to do anything to keep it, all for a woman, which is typical these days anyway.
And I ain't trying to sound like Trump, but who can't relate to a nigga on house arrest? You know what I'm saying? That's basically what he is. That's how he was relatable, because it was like, bro, like every time he came out, if he stayed out, I guess after like 12 hours, he starts like going in pain, and like he gets like, it starts hurting him the longer he's away from the underworld. And then like you see how he even just like the small time that he gets with was it Aphrodite? I think that's who he fall in love with. The small chances he gets to be with her, and like she's the complete opposite of him. Like it was just played out. Persephone of, I think that's what her name is, not Aphrodite. I think it's Persephone or something like that. Seeing like just their love story and seeing how they came up, and then how Ares was a hater too, like in the midst, and I love how they did hate. Ares is like, he's like textbook Ares, like you would expect that from him, but like with Hades, like you mentioned, it was kind of like a misunderstood, I'm the man of my circumstances, which is, I guess, the big microcosm of the whole series. Like these are the men of their circumstances, and these are how they became to be who they are based off how the situation, the cards they were dealt.
Yeah, but it was all in all a good love story that they told. Which again, I think Greek mythology is the Greeks in general, I feel like when I was watching this and reflecting back, their storytelling is just, I mean, this is peak. And I was thinking about like growing up reading this stuff. Sometimes when you watch certain things, the stuff that you consume, the good quality, high quality stuff you consumed at a young age, and then you watch certain stuff, you're like, what the hell is this? Because you're used to quality, used to reading quality and story building and character development and stuff like that. So sometimes you just can't deal with stuff unless you just willingly go along with it. And that was what I loved about what they did with this. And even I think just the monsters that they had as well, like going back to season one, like the last two episodes were freaking nuts with the Titans and just all of their powers and them wrecking havoc and stuff like that. And even before even before then, when Zeus got mad and they told Zeus, he was like, if you interfere, then we're gonna have some problems. And he was like, all right, fine, I'm gonna stay out of it. But he did it anyway.
He
and
did.
then he got mad and he just let lightning down on everybody. He had a little white man rage fit. It just went off. And then that's when he was like, she is the one that's been manipulating all of you guys. So now what? Because now we got to go deal with these motherfuckers that's coming over here. So y'all got a choice to make. And even how Poseidon, he went along with the rules because it was what it was. But even towards the end, he kind of came along and kind of went against the council, so to speak, as well. But yeah,
because he at least had the sea. He's like, I ain't got the land, but I at least got the sea. You know what I'm saying? I got water. I got, you know what I'm saying? I got life right here. So he was cool with his. I think he was always. I like how they did Poseidon because Poseidon has always been like a neutral kind of guy. Like he does, like he has his own shit, of course, but he's like he doesn't rock the boat like Zeus and Hades. Zeus and Hades is like literally heaven and hell. Like they always in combat with each other, but Poseidon has always been like the dude in the middle, like the middle brother, the middle child. But I also like the storyline between Hades, Persephone's mother and Persephone, like that little triangle that she was trying to create, because the mama was hating on that relationship with her. The mama was just like, you brought a nigga into our household. I got this other white man for you. You want to be with him? And then she ended up doing that whole like, all right, look, I'll do this. Because then she did some shit where she made a deal with Hades, like, I guess I won't tell your secret about all the shit you got going on, as long as you help us rule all together, like as a triad or something like that. And he don't fuck with her. Most men, I guess, married men don't mess with their mother-in-law. So that's what I got that sense of, like, when he did it reluctantly. I love the relationship buildings and the different battles that everybody had to go through, even if they were on the same side, or like everybody was trying to use somebody to a certain extent.
Yeah, and I like he had this whole team, and I like the black guy too, because I think the black guy was he had a crush on somebody. I think it was one of the other person on the team. Yeah,
the warrior girl, yeah.
Yeah, so he was following her around everywhere. And but I think the team was good when them walking through that field trying to get to the other side. I forgot what it was called. All the challenges they had to face.
Oh yeah, there, like the maze and stuff like that, and then they had to fight the Minotaur or something like that. It was like you mentioned, like it goes back to like Greek mythology is great at doing those tests of a warrior, the trials, is what they call them. And like every great warrior has gone through, like Hercules went through his trials. We see Heron going through his trials. Like everybody, like it's not like just because you got these powers and you the son of a guy, like, are you good now? It's like, nah, you got to prove yourself. And I like how they always put that in every story. It's like the warrior's path, the warrior. Like, and if you think about it, every kind of story that you think of kind of stems from like a Greek mythology kind of storyline when it comes to a hero's journey. Like, and those are usually like the best ones, like the Odyssey and all that other stuff. So I like how they did, like, he still has a team. Everybody always has a team, but eventually, like, you got to do this. You got to do this by yourself. Like, you got to go on this dolo. And if you come out, you come out. If you don't, you don't. But like, I like how they did that.
Yeah, and Demeter, in the second one, the last two episodes, she basically released all these damn spores and
And
killing
the
mortals
killing
and
the
weakening gods.
and the guys, yeah, like because even who's the fast one? I forgot his name.
Hermes.
Yeah, he was like he got caught up in it, right? Like because he had to deliver the orb that basically is like what decides on who gets to rule. He had to put it in this big like this super secretive vault and stuff like that, and everybody was trying to kill him on the way. But he ended up getting it, but he ended up getting sick though. So like I loved how they did it. I love the the issues that Heron had to deal with in season 2, because season 1 he had to figure out who he was, and once he found out who he was, season 2 was like, how does he deal with that? And then he lost his father in the middle of all that, like the guy he was looking for all his life. Come to find out, you got quote unquote a lottery ticket, and then all of a sudden you lose him, and then now all you still got to live your life, you still got to do all this stuff, but it's like I didn't even choose all this, but now I have to step up because you be me and you fucked up. And it's just kind of it's an interesting way of like it was like there's a lot of different stories, unlike the certain movies that we talk about or shows that we talk about where they try to cram in too much different types of storylines and they just kind of dilute things. Like this is done well because one, you have all this history and stories and books to kind of go off of, but two, it fits each character's arc based off of like these are realistic situations that you could play out in the real world when it comes to like relationships, like abandonment, insecurities about your own positions, feeling betrayed, the story of revenge, like all that stuff plays out well with each different character because you know enough history about them to be like, okay, that makes sense. Or if you find out in the show, you see it play out like, okay, that makes sense that he did all that shit. It's not like anybody's acting out of care. Like, why did he do that? It's like, nah, he did it because of this. He never had love in his life. The only love that Seraphim had was that one girl, and she ended up dying. You know what I'm saying? And you see once Seraphim finds out that not only did he kill his mom, but him leaving old girl was the reason why she died. Was like he's like, I'm trying to do at least one good thing before I leave the earth. Like, let me just do one good thing. Let me just bring her soul back to where it needs to be in a resting place, and then I'm done. Like it's a crazy ass story.
Yeah, and I think the only thing is Hera definitely had a turn, but I wonder if it was because she lost her arm or her hand, because I thought shit was coming back. Because I think at that point she was like, you know what, I think I done went too goddamn far now. I can't even do the shit I used to do. So now I'm advocating for peace. Because I was shocked. First of all, Zeus died twice in this shit.
He did.
so he got his neck cut, and then which would have been some bullshit. A guy can't die by his get his neck cut. So, but I think Poseidon or somebody brought him back to life, and then this motherfucker basically sacrificed himself for everybody. And in season 2, I'm waiting for him to return because I'm like, oh, he ain't gonna stay dead, but nah, he was dead. He had to go through the trials as well, just like
he came
Seraphim
back.
went through the
He came back in a way, like he came back one version as a ghost to talk to Heron about like basically his little secret in case of emergency, call this nigga plan. And then he was on, like you said, then he was on trial for like all the shit that he allowed to happen while he was running shit.
Yeah. So I think they set this up in the first one, but definitely you hear more about it in the second one where, at the end, this is why I'm glad they're getting this third season, because the way this shit ended, I was like, there's no way you could not do another season.
Yeah, nah, it's the battle of, it's the ultimate battle of battles. Like this is the ultimate war that you kind of want to see, and everybody's in their pocket right now. As far as like everybody's kind of we know the stories, we know the characters. Now it's like, all right, what do y'all do now with all this information? Like I like you mentioned, season 3 is gonna be crazy. Like I hate that they only do 8 episodes per season and it's only like, and that's one of the reasons why I love the show. It's a short season, and it's only like 35 minutes, if that, like each
Mm-hmm.
episode. So like you could run through it. Like they don't waste any time. Like it's and it's all well done. Like the animation is great. The fight scenes are great. Like I can't complain about this show at all.
Nah. And man, bro, I tell you, the things we do for women and the things we do for love.
Bro.
Because Hades had a chance, because Gaia with the grandmama, because the grandmama just was fed up with all of them.
Yeah.
And her whole thing was, y'all need to learn forgiveness. And that's it. Y'all learn forgiveness. We good. We Gucci. Everything's straight. Hades was like,
Oh, yeah,
nah.
I know what you're talking about. Who did he
stabbed Heron.
Yeah, he was like, I'm sorry, boy, because he ain't want to do it, but like again, because he's been betrayed so much and he got the short end of the stick for so long, he like fuck all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
If I can get up there, I'm gonna get up there. That's why he said, like, because he looked at her like he was like, I really don't want to do this. Or like, I don't want to do this to you, but I gotta do this regardless.
Yeah, and Gaia was like, shit. All right, fine. And then she said the name.
She said the name, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, yo, what the fuck? And then that shit went off. I was like, you gotta be fucking shitting me.
Yeah. Cause like, and the thing is, like, Haiti knew that was gonna happen too. So I don't even know why he even went through it the way he did. Cause it's like, bruh, she's looking for a reason to fuck your whole world up. Like you ain't gonna, even if you do succeed, like you're not gonna be living in a happy kingdom. Like that shit is gonna, you gotta step up and fight these titans now, which was already a battle in the first season. Like, yeah, I loved how that the story of love and like how you mentioned how everything kind of like your motivations are all based off emotions. It's not even based off of logic. Like if you move with logic, you'll be in a much better situation than you are when you move off of emotion. That's what I got from both seasons.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, this whole thing started because Zeus can keep it in his pants. He just went out.
Or at least pull out. You see? Like,
and then Hera was like, all right, well, you got the babies now. Basically saying you can't go see them. So then they grew up hating her dad, and she forcing him to let the woman he loved dies, and it creates this cycle.
And they had the one of the most randomest reunions in the afterlife before he went on trial, right? Remember he went to go see her real quick, like she was in the prairie. He was like, "Oh yeah." She was like, "Nigga, did you ever?" I think the one thing that all women always want to ask a man after they break up: "Did you ever love me?" Or like, was it all this? Hey, I don't even think he answered her. I think he just gave her a kiss on the forehead and dipped. like it was, yeah. Like this show is crazy.
But yeah, and I think my summary, well, the women in the show are cool, are wild. You don't piss them off.
Nah.
Hera basically called all the Titans to kill all her family. Demeter put poison spores on the world because her daughter was dating somebody she didn't want, and she was mad about that, to kill the same thing. And then Gaia was like, okay, all of y'all don't know how to act, so I'm calling the big bad of the Titans to correct all this shit. And it's all because of this decision making of men. One cheating and one unwilling to do his part because of the woman he loved. So in a jealous rage, he killed another man.
Yeah, exactly. Like you mentioned, like it's the catalyst is the dumb decisions by men is why the women react the way they do. And then you see the children suffer. You know, that's what you see. You see the children suffer from all that. It's just like because Heron didn't want none of this. Seraphim didn't want none of that. Like you look at everybody that you mentioned, like they all, even when it came up to like Heron didn't even fuck with some of the other guys that's been up there, like Apollo and
they didn't fuck with him at all, bro.
Like all the kids that Hera had with Zeus, she could like obviously those her babies. All them other ones that Zeus had, like that still live in the palace and shit. She like, I don't fuck with these niggas. It reminded me of with Ned Stark and his wife, like how she treated Jon Snow. Like, it was like, even though we found out Jon wasn't his, but obviously he kept up with that lie. but she hated Jon Snow because she's like, that's the symbol of that you was you was not faithful.
Yeah, Ares beat the shit out of Heron in the second season.
Yeah, he did. Heron got like
So-
one good look, I think, lick, and that was it. But yeah,
Yep.
because
Yep.
Heron, I
And,
mean, because Ares, he looked like Shaq compared to, it's like Shaq versus it's like Shaq and Kobe. When you see them like stand up against each other, yeah.
Yeah, he whooped his ass. But some of the other kids embraced him. But yeah, it was just like, they would look down on him because he was like a half breed or
Yeah.
So it was like, nah, you ain't one of us for real, for real. So, but overall, man, I'm looking forward to season 3. The first 2 have been great. I think the storytelling and the pacing and the action, there was a different tone in the second one than the first one.
Yeah.
But I think it still worked because it was a little bit slower paced than the first season, and they kind of kicked it up in the second half once they kind of got things in motion, and they ended with a bang. The first season was a little bit more action paced from the onset after the first episode because it opened with them attacking the demons. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what happens in season 3 because this Typhon thing seems like it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, because like season 2 felt like you kind of had to deal with all that. Like you had to deal with like, okay, we gotta, how did Seraphim come back? What is he dealing with? What he's going through? And I even like how they added the Seraphim's backstory to like the woman that he lost and stuff like that.
To the tree bender, I think, Gorgo.
Yeah. To that goblin that lied to her because she saw this room. He was like, I'm gonna still kill your ass. And then Seraphim came back to kill him. I thought that was hilarious, but I like how they did with Heron. Like Heron had to go through his hero journey, but he was still asking questions and dealing with things. And we get Hades, so like it did calm down, but it kind of just went down to kind of go higher again. It's like it's like a good album where it starts off hot, it kind of mellows out for a little bit in the middle, and then it ends hot. Like that's how I felt like from season 1 to season 2.
Yeah, because Heron had powers now, so he had to deal with that, learn how to use them. They had the Amazonians were in the second one. They had to deal with some shit there too.
Yeah, and I also like with the trials, like how when Seraphim went to or I think I was a Seraphim, one of the ghouls working for Haiti, when he was like nobody came through, like that the play on words and like how you like no one came through here, and I was just like, oh, that's so dope how they played that off and did that. Yeah, so like again, if you haven't watched it, obviously we spoiled it a lot for you if you haven't watched it, but still go watch it because that shit is fire. Like how they play out everything is well done storytelling.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I did like that part too. Because I feel like I read that before as well.
I thought that was in like this. I know that's part of like some of the stories, like the play on words and everything.
Yeah, which leads to them talking to, I think the Finks was in the second half towards the latter part or the last couple of episodes. So that was good.
The trial was hilarious too. When Seraphim went up there, they was like, "You ain't got nothing to say." He was like, "Man, fuck y'all." Y'all gonna judge me anyway. Just give me my sentence, nigga. Let me get the fuck up out of here.
I don't know if you saw the video, but he cussed him out. There was a white man that cussed out a judge, and he got 93 consecutive days for contempt. He basically did that shit. He was like, "I can kiss my ass." He was like, "Oh, you're not gonna come in here like that. That's contempt. You get 93 days." He was like, "Fuck you." That's another 93. He's like, "Fuck you." And he just kept cussing him out. I seen the clip. That's how he was. He was like, "Man, fuck y'all, bro. Like, y'all gonna do whatever y'all gonna do."
Because he hate the gods for all the right reasons. Because he's like, bro, y'all judge us when y'all do the same shit. And then y'all punish us for for serving you. Like it's a like that's what I love about the whole dynamic between the gods and the humans, is that they need the humans at the end of the day, because if they don't get those sacrifices or they don't get those those prayers and stuff, they're not strong enough, because they live on through the stories of how humans talk about them, which is why like but then they abuse them at the same time. It's kind of like it's just like an abuser with a slave or something like that. Like the masters and the slaves, the slave master needs the slaves to do the work, but they abuse the slaves. So they make sure that they stay in servitude. Like this
Yeah, and the gods are flawed. They're flawed creatures, even though that they're gods, and humans look at them as gods, but they're really no different because they say that the man are made in the images of God, right? And then I think the other thing is like you saw that there's checks and balances as well. Yeah, these gods are all powerful, but here come the fucking giants that they had trouble dealing with. Okay, yeah, they took out the giants because of Zeus' sacrifice, but now here's this other motherfucker that's around that hasn't been caught up yet, and guy are calling them up. So there's always somebody to get somebody in check. So yeah, all in all, man, yeah, I mess with it, and yeah, season three should be crazy. Let me see, when is season 3 coming out?
It's probably, I think, we may have to write a petition, Ken, or something to get them to give us 2 extra seasons. I think. Okay, it's set to premiere next year. The final season is set to premiere in 2025. So, and I think it usually comes out the first season came out October 2020, and then the second season came out this past May. So I think usually I was going to say they usually come out in the summertime. I thought they always come out like in the middle of the spring and summer. But as you can see from 2020, it took about 4 years for them to do a whole second season. So I'm surprised they were able to get this to do the final one. They probably just did it back to back to get it out the way. But yeah, I may have to write a petition to get them through 2 more seasons.
I'm with you. And yeah, with AI, this shit should be a lot faster. But yeah, as I'm reading here, it says it's supposed to debut at Comic-Con, and they got to deal with Typhon, Cronus, and the Titans. Jeez.
Boy, if you know anything about them, like those is the alphas and the omegas when it comes to all this shit.
I'm telling you. So anyway, any other thoughts?
Nah, just like you said, excited about season 3. I may end up. This is something that I could rewatch. Like I'm probably gonna rewatch both seasons once I know what month the 3rd season come out, just so I could just kind of get caught up and make sure I remember everything. But yeah, this is one of those shows like super underrated on Netflix catalog. I don't know why it doesn't get them. Maybe I think it's a if you know type of series. Like it's gonna get a lot of love after it ends, and people gonna be like, "Oh, you should bring it back." But like, nah, y'all should have been watching it when it came out. Because
it's definitely a rewatchable for me. It's right on my alley, and definitely some of them other joints you were talking about. So I want to check those out too.
Yeah, because the other ones that I like on Netflix, they only got they do like a season, like one-offs. Like it's not even like, and they even got this show. I think I brought it up one time on Paramount Plus. There's only about 3-4 things I care to watch on Paramount Plus. One of them is Married at Kingstown, which we did a week-to-week recap of season 3 for the Patreon. But The Ark. It's called The Ark. It's an animated show. I don't know if you heard about it, but like check it out. It's only got 1 season out, but it's interesting how they did that. Like you talk about like how crazy this show is. It's crazy over there too.
Okay. Have you watched checked out Blue Eye Samurai?
I haven't yet. I know you said you watched that. I haven't checked it out.
Yeah. It's kind of wild too. It has a lot of ups and downs, but a lot of story. But yeah, there's one episode action gets crazy. It's insane. It's like how this motherfucker doing this shit. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it. There was another one I was talking out loud to the TV as well. So I'm gonna do a solo on that for Patreon in a couple of weeks. So I think I'm gonna rewatch it again and do my solo on it because it's been a minute since I watched it. So, but anyway, man, that's gonna do it for us, man. We'll catch you guys next time. We out. Peace.